Welcome back, everybody, to Warhammer Weekend Times. I'm your host, Stan, and I've got a pretty big 2v2 field battle for y'all today. I am going to be playing as Chaos Undivided, and my ally is going to be Wa, playing as the Skaven. And we are going to be up against two Dark Elf armies today, one of them commanded by Gojira, and the other one commanded by Consul of Micronesia. But let's go ahead and go over the army compositions really quickly, guys, and then we'll go full speed. But Consul Micronesia has one unit of Cold One chariots in the back. He's also got a couple units of Dark Riders, I think about 3 units of these, 4 units of Dark Shards, a couple units of Hargoneth Executioners, 4 units of Dread Spears, and then about 4 units of Bleak Swords, which half of them have armor upgrades and half of them don't. And you can see right here the distinct difference between armor upgrades and not upgraded. So the armor upgrade system is very prolific in this mod. It's honestly one of my favorite features in Call of Warhammer. It's just done so well that the units feel like it's a whole new kind of unit. Micronesia also has a Cauldron of Blood, a couple units of Blackguard of Nagrand in the back, and then I think he's got 1 unit of Cold One Knights, and then 2 units of Reaper Bolt Thrower, which he's already pushing up. And I don't know why these guys are shaken already. That's really weird that they're shaken. I don't know why that's happening right now. Over here, Gojira's got a couple units of Dark Riders, about 2 units of Cold One Knights in the back. He's also got some Hargoneth Executioners, a few units of these, some Dread Spears. I think he's bringing about 4 units of Dread Spears, a bunch of Shades. I think what he's done is kind of replace Dark Shards entirely with Shades in his build. He's bringing about 4 units of these. He's got a Blackguard of Nagrand, and in the back he's got some more Hargoneth Executioners and some Bleak Swords. So those are the Dark Elf armies, guys. Let's go ahead and go over my army and Wa's army. I'm going to kind of just go over them in kind of one fell swoop. But I've got about 2 units of Hell Cannon of Chaos. Wa's bringing a ton of Spear Rats and Clan Rats. Looks like he's also got a Poison Wind Mortar over here. I'm bringing about 3 units of Nurglings. Wa's got about 3 units of Warplock Jezzails, a couple units of Plague Censer Bearers, some Clan Rats in the back. I've got some Chosen Knights of Nurgle, some Marauder Desolators. I'm bringing a bunch of Gore Herds, just kind of as a lighter, kind of easier throwaway infantry. I've got about 2 units of Chaos Warriors and 2 units of Chaos Warriors with Halberds. Over here, Wa's got about 3 units of Storm Vermin, a unit of Albino Guard, and then some Warp Fire Throwers. He's also bringing a Screaming Bell, a Warp Lightning Cannon, which is a extraordinarily deadly artillery piece right now. It's just crazily accurate for what it's supposed to do. Wa also has some Pack Masters. He's got some Poison Wind Globadiers somewhere in here, but I'm not 100% sure about where they are. Over here for our Cav Force, or more specifically my Cav Force, I've got some Chaos Hounds, a couple units of Marauder Horsemen, which will throw Javelins, a unit of Chaos Knights, and then I've got some Dragon Ogres as well. And my general unit, or that is going to be my general unit. He's going to be in here somewhere. But yeah, here he is. He looks really funny when you put the general on some of these monster units that are mounted like this. Especially Tzeentch Sorcerers with discs. They kind of look like they're wearing an inner tube. But anyway, guys, those are the armies. Let's go ahead and go full speed because this battle is about to start up very quickly. I'm already trying to fire with my Hell Cannon of Chaos into his lines. It does look like Gojira's charging up his Dark Riders. If we can get a good shot on them with our artillery, we should be able to do a bunch of damage. But I'm actually going to have a misfire here and shoot right into the ground. I'm guessing this just has to do with the angle that the Hell Cannon's on, but that's actually going to be kind of bad. I'm going to do a little bit of morale damage to my own Hell Cannon crew there. I'm not going to rout them, luckily, but it is going to be a little bit of an annoyance. I'm probably going to need to reposition my Hell Cannon before I fire again into the ground. But I am going to miss with my other Hell Cannon shot, but that is going to leave kind of a fire on the ground, and any units that kind of get near that or pass through it will suffer a morale penalty. They're going to go from steady to shaken, and that is going to let us rout them a little easier. Wa is going to get just a misfire again into the ground. So far, artillery is 1 for 3 for being able to fire into their lines. It looks like they are getting, however, in to range of Waz Warplock Jezzails, and they are just going to chew through those Dread Spears in just a single volley. I think he had all 3 Jezzails firing on them, but they are going to rout from that. I'm going to get another shot off with my Hell Cannon, and it does look like my Nurglings have kind of arrived to impede the movement of a lot of these Dread Spears, and that's how you want to use Nurglings, is just kind of a nuisance, get in the way of infantry and other units. Waz is going to send up his Clan Rats and Spear Rats over here to hold against these Dread Spears. And it looks like Gojira is going to actually try and move them around. They are shaken, but my Hell Cannon is extremely exposed. I'm going to try and move up my Chaos Warriors with Halberds to kind of block their path, but they're going to be moving in a lot quicker than I am, and they're actually going to get the charge off right here and move in. And I think he's going to kill a couple of these dwarves manning my Hell Cannon crew, and then I'm going to move up with my Chaos Warriors with Halberds to kind of hold them there. This is a really bad position, however. Our right flank is very exposed. We are getting shot after shot, though, with our artillery crews. I think Wad just got a shot in here, and I got a shot in with my Hell Cannon. That's going to cause a lot of morale penalty. However, Console Micronesia's Coldwood Chariots are just running amok through our lines, just moving through very freely, just chewing through a lot of our infantry. It looks like over here, the Plague Section Sparrows are actually going to take a really devastating charge from these Cold One Knights. And then over in the back, I think I'm actually going to be moving up a lot of my cavalry as well. Going to be moving my Marauder Horsemen around. They're going to start throwing their spears, and they're going to be moving my Chaos Knights in. I'm going to charge them against these Black Art of Nagron. This is a really bad move for me. They do kind of carry their charge through, hit some of these Hargoneth Executioners, and I think they killed a few of these Black Art, but it was not worth the trade-off. I did lose a lot of my Knights. However, this Knight unit is still pretty strong. I'm going to start charging my Dragon Ogres, however, into the back lines, into these Dark Shards, and that's going to do a lot of damage to them. They're very close together. These Dragon Ogres are monstrously strong, and they have an incredibly potent charge. Over here, it looks like a lot of these Dark Riders are now routing. Let's just slow the battle down a little bit, guys, because everything's happening so quickly. But it looks like I got a good Hell Cannon shot in here, which is going to cause a bit of morale damage for this big chunk of ranged units that Gojira has over here. This is extremely deadly to us if we don't get this handled. He's got his Shades over here, he's got his Dark Riders, and he is beginning to move up some really potent infantry. His Black Art of Nagarond are getting very close. Oh, but they're going to take a direct shot, however, from those Poison Wind Mortars, and that's going to do a ton of damage to that Black Art unit. That's going to kill about a third of them in a single cannon, but Gojira does have his Shades in just a deadly position here. I don't even know what adjective I was looking for, but he's going to be firing into these Storm Vermin, and it does look like he's firing into some of these Warpfire Throwers. He killed a bunch in that volley. These Warpfire Throwers are beginning to cascade into these Black Art of Nagron. It does look like the Poison Wind Globadiers are firing in as well. Over here, the Warplock Jezzails look like they're still firing pretty reliably in. Looks like the Cold One Chariots are moving in. They are going to do a bunch of damage to those Poison Wind Globadiers and move through those Warplock Jezzails, and it does look like they're going to start getting engaged against the Albino Guard. These are going to be a little bit more deadly, considering that they do have a bonus against cavalry. Another shot coming in from the Hell Cannon, killing a bit of these, a bit of my own Nurglings and some of these Bleak Swords, but that is going to rout them. These Hell Cannons are really important in terms of really pushing your morale advantage. It is double-edged, though. You can affect your own troops with it, so you really have to be sure to kind of be firing deeper into their lines. Sometimes you don't want to fight against the front line, but it does look like I have a few Marauder Desolators left, only about 5, and they're going to be fighting against some of these units back in on this flank. I'm going to charge in my Dragon Ogres. They're going to do a little bit of damage here. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to get something in here to push Gojira out a little bit. Looks like Waz Lightning Cannon's going to fire into the Shades. That is going to cause them to waver and eventually break. I'm going to get a nice shot in with my Hell Cannon of Chaos. That is going to kill some of my own Dragon Ogres. That's going to cause them to shake, and that is my general unit. But that is going to kind of incur a mass rout for Gojira's army, and that is going to kind of let us push our advantage now that we actually have one on our right flank. If we can kind of move some troops over here, we can regain some footing on our right flank. They definitely had the advantage there. I believe Console Micronesia is going to start firing in with his Dark Shards now. they are in a really deadly position too. There's not a lot of infantry that we have close by. I think a lot of our cavalry has begun to kind of thin out. It does look like Consul Micronesia is just wrecked what I had left of my my chosen Knights of Nurgle. Miss coming through, or coming from some of our artillery crews. Warp Lightning Cannon looks like it kind of misfired, as well as one of my Hell Cannons. Not getting a good amount of shots in, but they have done a lot of work for us this game. Looks like the Poison Wing Globadiers are going to be shooting or firing into the Cauldron of Blood. Looks like the Warplock Jezzails are also firing into this unit as well. This should hold for a very long duration of the game. The Blackguard of Naggarond are fighting pretty persistently here against these gore herds. And these gore herds have just gotten murdered this game. Looks like the Poison Wind Mortar actually is going to come in and do a bunch of damage to these Blackguard of Naggarond. That is going to kind of turn the tide a little bit for us. They went from a very healthy unit to almost none at all, down to about 22. That's going to be a little bit easier for my Chaos Warriors with halberds to handle, and for some of my gore herds. However, the gore herds really are not going to do much except maybe, you know, take a little bit of pressure off of my Chaos Warriors in that engagement. Looks like the the Warp Lightning Cannon getting another really good shot in, and then a follow-up with those Warplock Jezzails. That is going to do a ton of damage to these Dark Riders. It looks like Gojira is going to get pushed out again, just as he was getting a lot of his cavalry integrated back into the fight. Consul of Micronesia is kind of pulling his Dark Shards back a little bit to higher ground. If he can kind of get up here and kind of push an advantage range-wise, we're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Right now, the balance power is pretty even. It's a little bit in their favor. We've got about 71% of our army gone. They've got 66% of their army lost. So it's getting pretty even. I would argue we probably have a little more high-quality infantry at this point, but they definitely outrange us. And if they are able to push that range advantage and keep us at bay, they're going to be able to chew through our infantry very, very quickly. Another shot coming in from that Warp Lightning Cannon. That's actually going to do a bunch of damage to this Reaper Bolt Thrower unit here. They are going to be wavering. They're not going to break yet if they can hold long enough. That was really weird, however, at the start, where one of them was shaken and nothing, they hadn't engaged in combat or anything. They were just kind of moving through the terrain. I really don't know why that happened. That maybe they just have a base low morale. It's quite possible, but you'd think after that Warp Lightning Cannon shot there that if that were true, they would rout. So I may have to talk to some of the mod devs about that and maybe why that might be. Consul Micronesia is going to get a really nice charge, however, or kind of a nice charge in with his Coldland Knights. Looks like he's going to kill a lot of these kind of sparsed out clan rats, but then Wah is going to be moving up his Stormvermin. If they get a good amount of shots here or hits in, these Stormvermin will be able to chew through these Coldland Knights pretty quickly. Looks like these Dark Shards got just wonked. It looks like I hit them with 2 Hell Cannons, and then a Warp Lightning Cannon shot came in here, so that definitely broke their morale. Didn't kill quite too many. I think it killed about a third in that unit. If they were at full strength, they have 62, so they're still pretty healthy. Looks like these Dark Riders are going to charge through. They are, however, going to charge through the fire, and that is going to do a little bit of damage to their morale. And then the shots coming in from these Warplock Jezzails is going to cause them to rout. What's actually really interesting is Warplock Jezzails don't actually have any kind of natural morale debuff, from my understanding, but they just do so much damage, and all of them fire at once. It seems to just have a natural effect of, just a large amount of damage, inflicted onto a single unit, and that is kind of the mechanic that routs them. Wah is beginning to pursue with his very quick rats. I believe Skaven have a small speed bonus. I'm not quite sure what it is, but a lot of the Elf factions and Skaven units have speed bonuses, so they're quicker than regular infantry. Even if they're heavy infantry, they still can move fairly quickly. But it looks like we've routed the Reaper Bolt Thrower over here. It looks like that Gojira has a lot of his Shades still over here, some of these Dark Shards, but the Shades are going to rout due to a Hell Cannon shot, and these Dark Shards are still firing in. And this has really kind of gotten to the point where we've got some artillery, so we do have a bit of a longer range than they do, and we do have some infantry left, so we can kind of push that, and Wah still having his Warplock Jezzails is going to give us a kind of a medium range advantage as well. They do so much damage, it's really hard to hold against them. They rout units so effectively. But these Cold One Knights over here are going to be fighting against the Warp Lightning Cannon. Kind of at this point, I believe that the Dark Elf team was just really trying to tie up our artillery crew, to disable them, to really kind of take them out of the fight so they could move in, press the advantage that we wouldn't have that longer range advantage. And as soon as they moved in with these Shades and Dark Shards, it really would probably be over very quickly, just from the sheer amount of damage that they could inflict in a single volley. But I believe Gojira is going to admit defeat at that point. He didn't have too much of an army left. And Consul Micronesia does have some Dark Shards routing. He does still have some in this pretty good position up here. The balance power has really begun to shift in our favor. But I think that Consul is going to start having some of his units eventually come back. These Dark Shards are healthy enough that they'll probably return at some point. Looks like some of his other Dark Shards are stopping, and they are going, yeah, they're going to stop routing, and he is going to be able to, you know, regain command over them. Looks like a lot of these Skaven units that are kind of weaker are routing out of the forest. I don't believe Albino Guard can route. I'm pretty sure they have infinite morale. The Stormvermin are still here in decent number. The Albino Guard are going to be really kind of our bread and butter at this point. We really don't have much infantry. I think most of my Chaos Warriors are dead, and all I've got really at this point are my Hell Cannons. I have like just a handful of units left, like I don't know, like these, like 2 Marauder Desolators, which are making their way over here. Even though I've only got 2, if I can, you know, kind of engage Consul Micronesia's Dark Shards in melee combat and kind of interrupt them long enough for us to maybe get an artillery shot in, that would really be advantageous, even though they're so weak. Got a single Track Over left, which is going to be my general. And then it looks like Wa's got a bunch of Clan Rats left. He's got some of these Poison Wind Mortars still active. I don't know if they have ammo left. These Warplock Jezzails are going to be, honestly, what kind of holds us in this game at this point. He's got so many at such a high number that he can, anytime he just fires all 3 of these in, he's going to do just an incredible amount of damage. Now, if Consul can get a range advantage, if he can get a hill advantage on those Warplock Jezzails, he should be able to shred them pretty quickly, especially if he has all these Dark Shards. So it's going to kind of end up being a shootout at this point to see who can outrange who. Consul has a ton of these Dark Shards left. I think he's probably got more Dark Shards left than Wa has Warplock Jezzails. I think these Jezzails are going to start firing, though. And it looks like Wa is going to kind of set up these Stormvermin as kind of a wall. From my understanding, you can fire over the heads with your Warplock Jezzails. You kind of saw that just then. Some of these kind of actually were able to fire over the heads of those Stormvermin. I'm going to get 2 shots off simultaneously with my Hell Cannon. That's typically a very potent anti-morale combination. They are going to rout that really exhausted unit of Dark Shards. This one, however, is not going to take any morale damage, but they are going to take a bit of a shot from these Warplock Jezzails. And they're just going to be firing in. It's going to be Consul just firing in as much as he can. I don't know how much damage he's really doing. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm going to get 2 Hell Cannon shots off, however, and those look like they're going to be in pretty deadly succession of each other, and they're going to come in and rout those Dark Shards, and Consul Micronesia is going to throw in the towel at that point. The Albino Guard were getting just too close for him to be able to repel them back. And that is going to be the game, guys. Consul Micronesia getting the most kills. I think after the game, he said his Blackheart of Dagron got something like 300 kills, and his Dark Shards got something not too off or far off from that either. I got the least amount of kills. Let's take a look at my kills. My Dragon Ogres did the most work at 179, and my Hell Cannons really didn't even get that much work done. 42 and 52. They did rout a lot of units, and I think that's kind of where a lot of their work came in. I ended up routing more people, I think, than I did killing them, and then everything else kind of an even, kind of a medium spread. Nothing too spectacular, but that was the game, guys. I hope y'all liked it. I'm hopefully going to do a little more of these lore-friendly videos more often. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for y'all today. I hope y'all enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have a really good day.